Patrick Air Force Base, which is about 20 miles south of the launch site. They powered it up in preparation for tracking the launch vehicle during the ascent phase, and during the power up they had a problem. They were able to determine fairly quickly that it wasn't a problem that was going to be easily resolved, and we were, approaching the last hour of the countdown, and you can't have that kind of situation of uncertainty. So for safety reasons, lacking that radar and not being sure that it would be able to come up, we simply were forced to scrub the launch until tomorrow, and so we'll go at 9:28 Eastern Standard Time here in the U.S., 2:28, I believe, Greenwich Mean Time tomorrow.
Indeed, yes. So are you pretty confident that it will go according to plan tomorrow?
Well, we're saying tentatively at this point, but I did speak to an Air Force spokesman, and he felt confident that the problem was a resolvable one given the time to work on it.
Now, once it gets up there, of course, it's going to be there for 1.5 years. I know it's doing an awful lot of work, but perhaps you could give us a little flavour of the most important points that it's going to be working on.
Well, sure. The thing that's capturing people's imagination the most is the search for water ice in the lunar polar regions. This is NASA's first dedicated mission to the moon since the Apollo era, Apollo 17, 25 years ago. But we had the Clementine mission, a joint mission between NASA and the Department of Defense, a couple of years ago, and it provided some indirect evidence of the possibility of ice in those lunar polar regions. So that's one of the most exciting things we're looking at. We're hoping to have results on that, depending upon the amount of ice that might be there, pretty quickly, sometime in the few weeks to a couple of months time frame. There are other objectives as well. We're also looking at the structure of the moon and the composition of the moon. We're looking for phosphorus, titanium, iron, those sorts of elements. And then we're looking at volcanic activity, and we're mapping gravity fields, that sort of thing, looking for outgassing activities, volcanic type activity, that sort of thing.
Now, as you said, the excitement is being generated by the fact that the probe is searching for signs of frozen water, and people are saying that if in course that is there, this could eventually lead to the installation of a permanent base on the moon. I mean, is that a realistic prospect? It sounds almost fanciful.
No, I don't think that's true. I think a lunar base is a very real possibility, with or without lunar ice. It's just that if lunar ice is there, and if it can be mined or piped to other sites, then the possibility of a lunar base becomes more real, potentially even on down the road the possibility of lunar colonization. The other thing is you can take ice and break it down into its constituent elements, hydrogen and oxygen, and those, as you know, are the components of rocket fuel. So maybe it provides a nice jumping off point for solar system exploration in a larger sense. But, that's hypothesizing down the road. But interesting possibilities, and that's why we're all so excited.
Indeed. Well, let's cross our fingers for 24 hours' time. David Morse from NASA, thanks very much indeed for joining us this morning. You're watching BBC News 24.